Today's episode is brought to you by Pioneer Elite Healthcare. If you're looking to change your clients, if you're looking to get new workers, if you're looking for a change in your employment, please look at the number right here I'm pointing at. Reach out to Ms. Desiree or her staff. Figure out what you're going to do. I think Pioneer is a good company for you. Check them out. How we doing today, folks? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 7 of Just Conversations, No Interviews. For this particular episode, I bring back my real estate gurus or my real estate comrades so we could talk about our year in review about the things we've have experienced in 2022 in real estate. So how we doing today with the great Miss Harper and the great Mr. Shad Loans. And I don't know what she just smiled for because I stumbled and I stuttered because I do that type of stuff. But welcome to Just Conversations, folks. Now, what's been going on with y'all? How y'all been making out? How y'all doing?
Hey, new year, new energy.
New year, new energy?
You, Riz?
Absolutely. Same.
Yeah.
Okay. Are y'all happy that this year is over? That 2022 is over?
Yes and no.
Yes or no?
You know, 2022 was a learning experience for everybody, I think.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, I am happy it's over, but I'm also excited for
23?
23. And this is probably one of my first years really being into it so deep that I've now seen the highest peaks, and now I'm starting to see some of the icier, colder times. So I'm excited because, you know, we know that opportunity comes from
Disasters. From disasters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I've experienced in the 08. It's not going to end. Everybody's going to ride out. This could be either for 2 years. It could be for as long as 4 years. That's the longest that I have ever experienced something like this. Again, like I've told all y'all, just watch it. Every move should be a good move. And if it sounds too good to be true, I kind of back up off of it. Because now you're going to see a lot of scams coming out because a lot of people are going to be desperate. They haven't did them yet, but somebody going to go to sleep tonight as a millionaire in credit and wake up tomorrow as having negative 1,000. And the reason being is because sooner or later, the banks are going to just start chopping all those lines. They're going to start chopping. And as those lines start chopping, now that guy with that half-done project, don't buy it from him yet. Wait like 4 more months. Let him sweat it out a little bit because, most of those deals are back with a 3-month balloon. So if something goes wrong. So you're going to start seeing it bust out. But then you're going to start seeing some stars. You're going to start seeing some people who already went through this, who pretty much been sitting on the sidelines since 2012. Waiting for this day to come. Most people predicted it would happen again by 2020. Didn't happen in 2020. What really happened is that the market went even higher, which on another note means that the higher it goes, got to fall back down somewhere and make it make sense.
Yeah.
So what were some of your experiences like in 2022, like with like buyers and construction? What were some of your experiences like?
Oh, man. I lost a lot of deals
Yeah?
in 2022.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 2022 killed a lot of deals.
Okay. At what part of the year?
More toward the end.
end,
Like
okay.
I'll say like August, September-ish is when deals kind of really started going downhill.
Okay.
Just with those rising interest rates, like people were getting scared. The feds were changing the structure of the way things have been going on. So we've experienced, and I know you can speak to this, where, before you may have been able to get someone who was, moderate credit score, they'd get approved and they wouldn't have, too many hiccups, especially with all the first-time home buyer programs, et cetera. But now it's like, okay, you're getting hit with 1, 2, 3, 4-month reserves, and a lot of people aren't prepared for that.
Oh, you gotta have 4-month reserves now?
Like they have,
that's
it's a
thank you
big
for saying
thing
that.
of the
Thank you for
reserves,
saying
and a lot of people just
Without me saying.
they aren't ready, And it's like to tell somebody, okay, you're qualified for a property that's going to cost you about $1,500 a month for your mortgage, and on top of your closing costs, I now need you to
$6,000 in the
have
bank.
another $4,500. 5,000 in the bank after settlement. That's something.
Explaining that to them
Right.
too, though, because
but
the people
because you
that
don't
need
know
that-
until after underwriting.
Because
know?
and that's the goofy shit. Because underwriting always sends that shit back at the last minute
Right.
too. So I can imagine, you're going into a
So
deal.
you're getting ready to close. It's Monday. Your settlement is Thursday, and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, You need another $7,000.
And again, trying to explain that the people who are affected most by some of these tighter guidelines, unfortunately, are the people that
Needed the most.
needed the
Not-
most, but
no.
also lack the
They don't have the
literacy.
knowledge, right.
So explaining to someone that, hey, I need an additional $5,000 from you, meaning I need you to show $5,000.
Yeah.
Like we're fronting for the grand,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't need $5,000 from you.
You just gotta have it in your bank account.
You just got to have it in your bank account. And there's people that are knee deep in the process, but still haven't been told what reserves are or
Right.
what that even means.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, we take your payment that your monthly payment is, and now I need that times 4 or 5, right? But again, it's still the same cash to close that we talked about, but
now you need
I
more.
still need you to front for the gram and have
So-
a couple of these bands in the stack.
So what happened if you go? What if I went to what if I went to grandma or something and said, "My grandma, I need to borrow 6,000, just put it in the bank." Do they make? Does that? Because I remember
can do
before.
that.
Because I remember before they would make a big
you
stink
know-
about it when you.
No,
would-
you can do it. It's
can
still
do
it's
it.
parameters.
Okay.
So there's certain people, like you can't go to a cousin
Okay.
and get that money. But
Okay.
if grandmom raised you, grandmom can loan you the money.
Who
Mom,
else?
dad,
Grandma.
son, brother, sister.
Yep.
Like those are, and I mean, obviously you can talk more to this than me, but those are the type of people that can loan you the
That
money.
are
sure.
accept, so
For
they
sure.
are acceptable
But here's
people.
the caveat. When they loan you the money, we now need to see their bank statements too. Because we need to make sure that you didn't have a bunch of
Money
mattress
didn't come,
money
right? What did
that
you-
you went,
Baby, let me get
hey,
this for you.
grandma, do
Let
me
me
a
get
favor.
this for
Put
you.
this in
Put
the
this
bank.
10 grand in the bank
And
and then write me a check.
how many months you guys need to see from the time that money got in the bank, or you just have to
30
see?
days.
30, just 30
days.
days.
30
That's
day
it.
history, right? But here's the other thing.
God dang,
where
this is
things
crazy.
got tight, and that's been something that's been happening the last couple of months where things have tightened up. Nobody did an official press conference,
Right.
Or saying, "Hey, look, we're tightening up guidelines."
It's just a rule that they just decided to
but
make.
Some of the algorithms of how we analyze and evaluate credit and these loans have gotten tighter, and those of us on the front line who serve a certain demographic are finding out kind of on
As
the
you
fly,
go. Yeah, as you
we
go. Oh, yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And then
And nobody believes us when we're like, we're just as shocked as you are.
just exactly you are.
They just told me this in the email.
But
yeah.
it's the
Right,
truth. Like,
right.
we don't know.
So I remember. I'm sorry for cutting you
Yeah.
off. I remember sometimes in like closings, like I would be like in a 12-hour closing, and like we would be playing hardball, and I'd be like, well, you know what? Then I walk away from effing deal. Like I mean, I just tell them like, F it, then we ain't doing it. Now, are they still trying to do the deal that bad if you say you're gonna walk away, or if you say you walk away, they like, well, fuck it, then we ain't worrying about it. We won't finance you. Like, what is it like when somebody's walking away? Has anybody said to the underwriter people like, well, not the under, but whoever, hey, listen, I don't got that. What I got is what I got is this. So if you're telling me we're not going to do the deal, then F, I'm not doing it. Has anybody said that? Like, has that happened?
Oh, people walked away from deals.
And the underwriter haven't changed. They haven't
losing
changed.
They
it.
don't care.
They ain't losing
They
no
could.
sleep.
They couldn't care less.
Ain't losing
The
no sleep.
negotiation happens between the seller and the buyer.
Okay.
So it's up to the seller, the buyer, the realtors, the people that are directly involved to say, what can we do?
So what?
You know,
So what
everybody gets to a point where we have to get.
Has-
We're looking at appraisals. Did this house appraise for more than what we put our offer in for?
Okay.
If it did, how can we pull from the appraisal to make that money go towards
Those
this
4
person's
months.
closing costs?
Those 4 months.
You know, so like because you may get a house. Let's say you put in an offer for 200,000 and the house appraised for 205. You got 5,000 in equity that you can play with. So it's like, okay, now we're going to write this contract at 205. We're going to give you this $5,000.
Okay.
And we're going to play around with the
So
number.
it's like it's almost like a seller's assist, like so. That,
Correct.
So so they're giving back the 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and it's up to, when things get funky, it's up to the agents to help.
To
you know,
become
the lenders
creative.
to help
Everybody
be
gotta get creative.
and keep everybody engaged. Because, you know, when this kind of stuff happens and the bag gets delayed, right? And I was expecting this pay,
Oh, yeah.
you know, on closing. We supposed to
Oh,
close on
yeah.
the 13th, but
Oh,
now
yeah.
we need you to get all resourceful, and your resourcefulness makes us close on the 18th, you know, and I'm representing
Those
seller,
3 days is
like,
getting 3 days is a lot.
Some people
Yeah.
might not always want to hang in.
3
but
days are like 3 months.
the other thing that she brings up that's important about this one thing is too, that the the guidelines have definitely gotten tighter, but we've seen the thing where we say buyer contribution or seller contribution. So if you have a certain tier of credit and it might be on the lower end, we not only monitor your ability to repay the loan, but now there's like you said, towards the end of the year, we started to focus also on how you're paying for the loan, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't have the hottest credit, and if you got some debts or you have limited credit background and you know,
Shit
kind of
kinda
a
shaky.
scratch and
It's
dent
kinda
type
shaky.
of buyer, they're going to also clock the buyer contribution. So you can't have a deal where $200,000 house costs $16,000 all in to get the house, and you only put up $5,000.
Oh no, you
But
gotta
you
put up
got
that
sellers.
Oh, so there's no more sellers.
assi-
The sellers
No, no,
assistance
no.
change.
no,
You
but on
can.
certain deals,
You have to
gotta
put that skin in the game.
You gotta have some skin in the game, and you'd be like, "Well, damn, he pre-approved me, and initially I was only cool with this 5 or 6. You said that's all I got to do. With Charisma, work with the city, and they got me at 10 grand, and the seller came in with, and you only got this small amount, but you're getting so much from everywhere else. Yeah, you got 680 credit, got a great job, low debt to income. We're not gonna stress you, but those again with the 622 credit and higher debt to income, and maybe limited job history, limited credit history, and you got some, like I said, some fuzz on you. We're not only stressing you about the ability to repay the loan, but we're also stressing people about the transactional costs. Where before, look, I got 5, this thing costs 15. I got 5, she gave me 10 from the city. That's 15. We out. See y'all. But now it's like, not so fast. You only got 5. Why?
Oh
Why
shit.
do you only
Your
got
higher
5?
liability.
What, you didn't have
So-
any more skin to put in the game? You got no reserves? So you telling me this is done after this 5?
It sound like renting an
And then
apartment.
10?
It sound like renting an apartment. No, it really
It's
do.
crazy.
Right? Where's your buffer? Where's your cushion? And that's what they're asking for people. Before that wasn't a part of the
the deal.
process, right? As much of as it is now. So again, we got ability to repay, always been a part of that. Can you pay this 30-year loan back? Now we're starting to stress people about, getting that lower bracket of credibility. Now, how are you paying for this again? Oh, that's it? That's all you got? You got nothing else in there? No buffer, no reserves, no. This is it. You got $58 after this transaction.
Wow.
Huh, okay.
So, and what about like PMI and everything? The game is still the same as far as
That's
the
the
PMI.
Yeah, that's still the same.
None of that changed.
Yeah, that's
That's
still the
crazy.
same. Less than 20%, you're gonna pay.
I mean, even that's crazy because that wasn't even a thing. And also, a lot of people who had PMI on their loans from the older regimes, they still paying the same PMI. They didn't even take it off the loan. They keep finding, especially Bank of America. They be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take it off," but they never take it off. It's like it's a funny game.
So it's so crazy. It's funny because I follow this guy on Instagram. I can't remember his name, but like a big real estate guy or whatever. He's an investor guy, and he's always putting up different things or whatever. And one of the recent videos he put up, I want to say it was probably this week, was about exactly that, about PMI and how like, oh, did you know? Like, cause he was doing one of those, where you can you can record yourself watching a video. It was one of those type of things. I don't know.
Side
y'all-
by side.
Yeah, like y'all know I don't know what it
remix.
is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Call it a
Remix.
right?
Yes. So it was one of those, and he was watching that video, and the guy is like, "Oh, did you know? Like, you can call the bank and you can have your PMI removed and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And he
Yeah, after 10
reposted
years,
it,
yeah.
and so many people were on there like, "Oh, I had no idea, et cetera, et cetera." Like, how do I do it? But then a question came up with a few people who were a little more savvy, in my opinion. Was like, "Well, what if I have an FHA mortgage?" And it's never addressed. It makes it seem as if PMI is universal, which it is, but the breakdown of it is not.
Correct.
With FHA, your PMI never goes away. You have to get out of the FHA loan
To get out of the
into a
PMI.
different loan product in order to get out of the PMI.
I never knew that.
Now, there are some FHA products where there's like PMI, MIP, so interchangeable terms. But you have to be in it for a minimum of 11 years.
Yes,
Before
at
you
10
can
years,
try.
because
Yeah.
10 years you're
Putting a
supposed to
certain
cut it. You're
amount
supposed to
down.
cut it at 10 years.
Right.
You're
But-
putting a certain amount down to get that.
Exactly. But it's supposedly it'll fall off. But in most instances, to your point, both of you guys, you have to call. And you have to negotiate with the bank, and you have to let them know. And almost to the point where, like, you have to threaten to leave like, if they don't remove it, because it's supposed to automatically fall off after 20%, but
It's-
that's only with conventional products.
It's crazy. Yeah, like it's funny because that wasn't even a term in 2008. It wasn't even a thing. And maybe if it was out, it never was on none of my loans. Anything I had from 2000 to 2006, there was no PMI for me. I can't say with everybody else, and I did not put 20% down on everything I bought. Some
But
things I
your
bought.
rates were higher.
Yeah, rates were higher, but the rates that I was dealing with was still not as. They would, even today's rates as now would be considered low rates.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's why you didn't have something like who needs PMI if I'm charging you 9%, 10% interest?
but-
You know what I mean?
but the PMI is all game anyway though, because people were still buying houses back then, not putting
True.
down, not putting down 20%. Everybody didn't put down 20% back then.
We
It
got
was-
a thing right now where, buyers will walk away and say, yeah, man, I got this, I got that, and I don't even have any PMI, and I only put X amount of dollars. And we got what's called lender paid MI, right? Where essentially you don't have any PMI, but
you
your
got
interest
different-
rate is a half a point higher. It's
So it's pretty- it comes out the
0.75
same,
So
yeah.
it really comes out the same. Or again, if you have a relationship with your lender may say, okay, so look, here's the lowest rate we got with PMI, and here's where you got no PMI, but technically you are paying PMI because you're paying a higher rate. Let's see which one makes sense financially.
So could we tell the people exactly what is PMI? Because some people don't even know what PMI is. Could y'all do?
So private mortgage insurance or mortgage insurance premium, right? And so
And what exact-
MIP is the one for FHA and PMI is the one for conventional loans.
And what exactly is it supposed to do for people who don't know? What is it supposed to do?
So it basically, right?
No, because honestly, to me, I feel like it's bogus insurance.
It is.
It's
because
almost
it
like-
doesn't protect you. It
Yeah.
protects the lender.
It protects the lender, and
Yeah.
it says if the house doesn't sell at a certain amount, they're supposed to
Right.
get the
So
difference.
if a buyer defaults, a homeowner defaults on the loan, the banks are bailed out.
Yeah.
They're insured.
Yeah.
And so why banks essentially like government loans, because
They're insured. They're backed.
insured by, FHA, Federal
Yep,
Housing
yep.
Administration, right? And those loans banks love the most. So sometimes, when recruiters call lenders, they look and they say, wow, he writes a lot of FHA. That's good. You would love to have a loan officer that does govy loans and specializes in government loans because, again, those are the loans that are easiest to sell to other banks.
other people when they- when they're
right?
buying
Other
loans.
banks when they go to sell loans on the back end. Well, after we're done with the people, right? They sell loans. And they call them pools. They put loans in basically a big old glad bag
for
and
mortgages.
sell them to somebody,
one,
right?
If one is great, it's all of them
Right?
great.
And so they pull, like mortgages together and they sell them. And so government loans are great because they're backed by Uncle Sam, which,
Yeah.
people will take on that kind of loan in their portfolio,
Yeah.
both on the origination side as well as on the servicing side, the secondary market.
Yeah. So you learn something new. PMI. So when you see what you're paying, you know what you're paying, which is crazy because you're paying the bank's insurance, which is crazy. Somebody kid is getting that money, and I don't know what they're doing. They're probably running around buying a yacht because so many people. If they show how much PMI has made since
It's
2008, 9, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's the biggest hustle, the biggest scam, but it was something they used to bring the market back. But it's just another scam.
The crazy thing is that we're at like 10-year, 15-year lows for like
Foreclosures and everything,
right?
yeah. Mhm.
Now we know that's skewed because some people,
Pandemic.
right, with the pandemic, right? But still, they were collecting it. It wasn't like they were not collecting
Yeah.
it. So just think of just all of the PMI that just stacks
Just-
on with
yeah,
everybody's mortgages,
yeah.
right? And that just goes in one central bank.
That's going to somebody.
Where,
Yeah, slush fund. It's a slush fund.
literally, man,
It's a slush fund.
insane. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. And,
Yeah.
and not to mention FHA, they do a premium amount, so they collect
Yeah,
a
that's
couple
up
bands
front.
up front.
It's an
upfront
upfront
mortgage
premium.
insurance premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And they get a chance to roll that into the loan, and then it's the monthly
Yeah, on top of PMI.
on top of it. Right?
This shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they killing it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why if you can, man, be your own bank. It's not that easy, but just figure it out, man. Get some life insurance, make a trust, and do it like they say on Instagram. It's like, no, but
Or how about, even more
Get that
importantly,
20%.
maintain your credit. Maintain your credit. Like, get your credit right. Because when your credit is good, You don't have to worry about only qualifying for an FHA mortgage. FHA mortgages, don't get me wrong, they're great. They're a great foot in the door because in a lot of instances, you can get in a lot lower than you would with a conventional or another type of loan product, you know? But don't put yourself in a position where you just make the cut for FHA and then you don't qualify for anything else. That's what the problem is. You know, so many people focus on doing the bare minimum. Like, what do I need to buy a house? A 620? All right, cool. My credit score is 621. Like, you know, and it's like, no, shoot for the 700. I tell all my clients, they call me like, I'm a first time home buyer. What should I have? 700.
Dang, you telling me 7? Not even a 680?
No, 700. Because things happen. Things happen. Let's say
by the time you get to closing,
you know, you got a $5,000 limit on your credit card, and something happened, like you had a car issue and you didn't expect it. So now you add a $3,000. Your utilization is high. That's going to affect your credit, but you got wiggle room. Have some wiggle room. That's so 700.
Yeah. All of the people that of those did, and again, it started happening to me, and I'm like, yo, I got to tell somebody how much stress and drama and how strenuous it is to get a lot of the folks that normally I'm like, oh, $595, I can do that, right?
them days are over. That, all that came to a halt.
All of that it just got so tight, and there's so many compensating factors that a buyer would have to compensate for.
You gotta have some crazy money. You gotta have some
crazy money, great job history, or make great income, right? And so I would tell people when during, you know, the heyday of 2020 and 2021, you know, hey, look, you got 580 above, I got you. You got 4 or 5 bands, I got you, right? Now it's like, I need reserves. I don't got you. I need reserves. And these tighter, you know, this tighter predicament that we're seeing now, it's affecting the people with the lower credit. And had they had maybe 660 and above or 680 and above, again, nobody's stressing about how they're paying for it as much as we are now, where, like I said, if you got that 5 to 10 ratio, this thing costs 15 and you got 5 and the rest of the world is giving you 10 and you got a 626 credit score, we don't want to talk to you a little bit. Stay after class. No, everybody else is gone, right? But stay after class, Mr. Sharif. Yeah, we want to have a word with you. And you looking at everybody lead the class. And
So tell me a scenario. Somebody say, all right, it's the beginning of the year. I'm about to get my tax return, so I have reserve, and I got my I got a 650. Would y'all take them on, or would y'all say no? Get to the 700.
I mean, 650 is doable. Like it's doable. Like 620 is doable. You know, it's just a level of preparedness that you have to have, and you have to. So the fail point is a lot of people aren't educated, and I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean educated by us. You know, so you get people who come out like, this is our jobs. This is what we do for a living. So, you know, if you get, you know, Brenda, the flight attendant who comes out and she wants to come and, you know, purchase a home, and she talks to Shy, she talks to me, and neither of us tell her with her 650 credit score and her $7,000 in the bank what the ramifications are of that, then she's going to be left out, you know, and she's going to be up the creek without a paddle, because something's going to come up down the line. Like, buying a home is not an overnight process. Even for the most savvy of people, even for the people who are dead set, that know exactly what they want. It's like, yo, I saw this house, I went to an open house, I want to put in an offer today. Even those people, you still need a 45-day window to close, period. Especially if you're getting financing, like your loan funding. Grant funding, excuse me. So if you're getting grant funding, you definitely have to have that 45-day window. So it's not an overnight thing. Anything can happen in the course of 45 days.
Literally.
Now, how many times?
You know?
How many times do they run your credit in that 45 days? They run it in the beginning.
So some
then they
lenders
run it like
do
a week
one
before.
in the beginning, one at the end.
Yeah.
I work for a lender. I think most of my lenders, they only did the initial credit pull.
And that's it.
Because they run it straight to underwriting.
Right, because they run it straight
That's the
to
best way
underwriting.
to do it.
And a lot of times you don't want to see what you don't want to see. Look, this thing look good enough right now. All right, we're
get
going
it
to
on
rock with
through.
what this is,
Right.
right? Now, they do set up, certain things where certain triggers will tell them if you did some foolishness. I had a guy on a Friday, closing got pushed to Monday, and on Friday afternoon he calls me up. Hey, man, I'm just leaving Raymore. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh,
Man, I
shit.
got $4,000.
And
And
credit.
he's an arrogant dude. He's a very
$4,000 in
arrogant,
furniture?
a real label whore type
Yeah,
of guy.
yeah.
Smell real good when you see it. And Gucci Mox is on. And he couldn't wait. Hey, man, look, it's not my fault. Y'all should have had closing today. And that thing got pushed to Monday. And I'm just hoping, like, please, none of them triggers. And nothing happened, thank God. But he
Okay.
spent 4 bands that day in Raymore, with the other 3, on Monday.
Wow.
That, he told him he'd bring. I'm like, $7,000 furniture. We ain't even closed yet. Like, are you serious? But we only run. Many places will do the 2 credit or maybe the soft credit pull on the back end.
Okay.
Hard pull on the front end. But like she said, credit readiness, is really important. This whole home buying thing is essentially looking at what your income is, what your credit related debt is, right? And how much can we squeeze somewhere in the middle, a mortgage payment, without harming
All your other
other
creditors.
bills. And then can you pay this bill?
It's
right?
the same way with paying rent.
Right?
It's the same way of paying rent.
And essentially the way that a lot of the loans are structured where, okay, what's your gross? Before Uncle Sam takes all your money, okay, what's your gross? Essentially, we kind of cut that in half, right? And that's your budget. It's not your budget to go out wild and spend all of that half
That's what
on
this-
the house. But
yeah.
again, it's that half needs to be able to equate for the new mortgage payment you're getting, as well as, again, all your credit-related bills. And then we allow that other half to be for the miscellaneous, the gas, the milk, the eggs.
Strip club.
Hey, all of those good things, right? Light bill, phone bill, Netflix, Hulu, right? But that's how the loans are structured. Half of your gross can go towards your mortgage payment, credit-related debts. The other half is up to you, right?
Okay.
And so, that's how these things are structured.
Okay. Well, we always got a good topic when we're here when talking with y'all. And last time we was here, we was talking about, at the end of the show when the camera went off, we was talking about, should you sell grandmom's house? If and when should you sell grandmom's house? So we was talking about buying the house. Now we're talking about 30 years from now, 20 years from now. Would you suggest your offspring either keep your house or sell the house?
What you think is?
It's a slippery slope. It really is. So it's a slippery slope
We'll
for
give both vantage
a
points.
couple of
Yeah, let's
factors.
talk about it.
So one, it would depend on what's grandma's house worth today, right? And how financially savvy
Will be the person who has it.
correct.
The person who's gonna inherit
would
it.
be right, inheriting and responsible for selling.
Mm-hmm.
So if like we talked about, the big boom in Brewery Town. We talked about Francisville
Mm-hmm.
the last time we were all together, you know. So when you think in terms of those type of areas and the growth, the like exponential growth
Yes.
over the time when we were children versus now.
Yes.
I
last
think
20 years, the last 20
just
years, crazy.
realistically, the 3 of us being who we are and doing what we do, if we were in the position today to have a home in one of those Fairmount, Brewery Town, like any of those locations, and we can sell for $500 and $600, and we can, especially in this market right now where things are going, I think we'd sell. Just realistically,
You would sell.
you'd sell. Like,
It's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard.
like,
Because the only reason why I say it's hard for me to sell, because I know it's probably like, it's not a chance you ever going to make it back into these neighborhoods. Like, I don't think nobody's really going to make it back. Like, so my whole life growing up, right? And sorry for cutting you off.
no, it's all good.
Spring Garden always looked like Spring Garden to me. They say at one point it used to look like the Badlands. I never seen Spring Garden look like the Badlands. And in my
Yeah, I
whole
haven't
life,
either.
my whole life, Spring Garden always looked like Spring Garden. And I know I could never afford to move into Spring Garden. Now the other side is Fairmount Avenue, where my whole family from. I seen everybody sell their stuff, and it's just like, I don't think that was the move. But like you said though, for the savvy person, me personally, I would keep it, and I would probably draw off of it.
That's the other side.
I would probably draw off of it to have a war chest for a time like this, and try to make good buys. Now we're doing that. I could fuck it all up too, and lose everything I bought and grandma's house. So it is the game. It is the game.
It's
So,
definitely
I
a
mean,
crapshoot.
a lot of times we run into a situation where grandmom's house might have some tangled titles. We got grandmom's
Definitely.
house having tax liens on it.
Yeah.
And different judgments and things that could be tied to grandmom's house, right? And so sometimes we look at just playing devil's advocate, because truly I think I'd like to hold on property because I see how much of a struggle it is to obtain
buy it,
property.
yeah.
Any
Yeah.
property, no matter how qualified you are, shit could go awry, right?
But it's not so much you though. We talking about the offsprings.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you trust them to hold on to it though?
yeah.
That's what makes it a slippery slope. I
Yeah.
think this is where deed restrictions are important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So deed restrictions like what? No
Deed
taking loans.
restrictions are important.
Okay, well, there's like no taking loans on it or something. What you gonna have?
Listen, I don't know. Something got to give. Like
Damn.
What happened to Auntie? Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
No.
saw that. When did we do that? 2020, 21?
No, it-
Been sold it? Oh, yeah, we
it
been
gets
sold that.
nasty.
30 grand. I mean,
Listen, man.
we did it
good-
in our family, unfortunately. Someone did it, I didn't do it. But
good-
it sold
listen.
for 45, and that thing sold for 215, maybe 220.
How long after?
Year and some shit.
So
It was
listen,
a year-long
a good
rehab.
listen,
Good
pimp.
Lord.
A good friend of ours, people's uncle died, maybe about a year or two ago. And a friend of ours, he's in real estate, and he's in Philadelphia real estate. And when the uncle died, he had a house on somewhere on 64 Avenue. And I'm telling you, he was going to make a play to get the house from him. And he told him, hey, look, I know such died. Let me know what your number is, and I'll get it for you. Because I know you want to get rid of the house. Just tell me the number you want. These motherfuckers let the house go on 26 and Cecil B. Moore, maybe, for about $30,000. For my man, he could have got that from anywhere. He could have dropped the 30 on him like it wasn't nothing. But they didn't want to give him. They didn't want to give him the opportunity to get this house for $30,000, and they sold it to somebody else because it's somebody else they felt was better than him getting it. And it's like, so the selling grandmom house thing, like, God damn, before you do anything, let's just have some knowledge. Let's see, these people, like, people take what they all set for a house. It's just the most money I ever had in my life.
Right. Oh,
for
Because
sure.
$30,000 and $20 bills look good. $30,000 and $100 bills look good. It's about this high,
We buy
three
homes
stacks.
for cash.
Yeah, you know what I'm
these
saying?
dudes are literally coming in people's homes with duffel bags.
It looks good, but man, it don't last long.
Not at all.
It don't last long. So
Not
it's
at all.
it's extremely scary. I wouldn't know. Like again, when my parents go, we have already did what we had to do with those houses. We have already positioned them to who they're supposed to go to. They have already been transferred over to the proper people. But if I was to die, I wouldn't want none of the younger generation right now touching it, because none of them have the tools to know what to do. And because I'm not here standing on time telling them, yo, this is what you better do, only God knows. Because, those properties, they would think $100,000 was a come up. They'd be like, oh yeah, we got a beam, we got another beam, the beam. You start talking about an average person makes $40,000, $50,000, they can get $300,000 in one time, they can get $400,000 in one time. They'd be like, shit, where got to sign that? And now what they're doing, living out their rap video lives. You know what I'm saying?
Like 2 years.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, for about 2, if that, yeah. Don't let them get a gambling habit. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them have a gambling habit. So
Listen.
it scares me as far as like what to do with that next generation.
Yeah.
Like that is very scary, because those tools, even if you give it to them, who said they want to use it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I
They're
mean,
just so impressed by the glitz and the glamour.
the flash is everything.
Yeah.
The flash is
now.
everything.
Yeah.
Like everything
Money
is
phone?
now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
When we see buyers, for instance, they want to win the Super Bowl on game 1 of the season. Right? Season started. They want to get the the dream house with the the black windows and the sliding glass doors and the rooftop deck and
Those black windows
you
are
know
nice,
those
though.
black windows are sexy.
Very nice.
Sexy,
Very nice.
right?
Very nice. The
Soaking
price of them. Price of it even nice too.
Soaking tub.
Especially the house that got the drone flying through and got the steps coming down. Oh my God.
Or the steps coming up.
What?
You know?
Jesus, child.
They want that on house number 1. Like,
Yeah.
why am I not able to get? You keep showing me all of these. But I want this
Right,
thing.
like
You know what I mean?
this ain't it. Not next.
House
next.
number 1 though is supposed to be that, and it's like not so fast. But it is a, to get rich quick. I always call it like the orange Stouffer's box mentality of now.
Yep.
Put this in the microwave 3 minutes, and I got a full course meal. Like, that's the kind of demographic who's buying homes right now, right?
But it's crazy because they think that way because for them the stuff they can get it now. Like they have access to so much more stuff.
Bad information and good information, but they got
information like how to make money. Like most of them don't use it, which is what's unfortunate. But like
or use the correct
they are
way.
exposed to so much more than we are. Were rather, you know. Like so, the idea of them wanting things right now, hot and ready, is not as far-fetched as it is mentally for the three of us.
Yeah.
It's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, when I was young, I couldn't tell you where to buy a Lamborghini at. I couldn't tell you how much a Bentley cost. I didn't have those. I didn't see FC Curbeck until I was probably 22 years old. First time I ever seen FC Curbeck. You know what I mean? So, now a kid could just say, buy a Bentley, and they can find it. You know what I'm saying?
Fingertips.
Gucci showroom. You know what I mean? They can find things that, and when we were young, we had to go look for. There was places, a research place that's building with all these books, and they call it a library. Now that whole library is right here now, and it's but the sad part is that it's a library, the real thing, and then it's like News Us Weekly. Remember the National Enquirer we used to see in the supermarket with the worst articles?
Oh yeah.
We got that on the phone. That's all together. Yeah, fake news.
Fake news.
You know what I mean?
Limited
And there's people.
credibility.
Yeah, and there's people who act it out. So it's kind of hard to make a decision now. So like for me, when it comes back to the grandmama house thing, I personally, in my grandmama house, my uncle got it, and my grandma died 2006. The house is on Hubert and Fairmount, right at the corner. So you can imagine that house in 2009. I think my uncle sold it for $250. And it was a good lick, I guess. My uncle dead now, so I don't want to say anything other than that. He sold it. It got some two and some change. I don't even know how much it was, right?
I wish.
So let's say he sold in 2009. Now that block, again, like I said, you can't even get in on that block now. And when I looked probably like 2 years ago, a house up the far end of the corner was going for like 900 and something thousand. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I say like in certain areas, it would be hard for me personally, because I know I'm never gonna have $1 million to buy to buy in this house.
What you said was the other right thing to do is leverage it.
Yeah, leverage it. Yeah, I would definitely leverage it. Yeah.
If you don't sell it, you leverage it.
Yes.
And you leverage it to attain more.
Yeah. Now there is a point where you may have to sell, because I don't know what real estate taxes are on something that costs $10 million. Yeah, exactly. So let's just say you start getting.
Explain that devil's advocate.
So you start getting $20,000 a year in real estate taxes. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
You think? I
don't think it's that much. No, but it would probably be at least.
We're still in Philly, so.
I'll just say like this: it seems like in Philly, for every 100,000, it's 1,000.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah. So every 100,000 is 1,000. So $10,000 a year into real estate taxes. And let's just say you only making $70,000 a year. Who's to say you can even handle that tax bill? Because if you got a car.
Assuming if it was grandma's house, it's paid off. So.
But taxes, which we know, real estate taxes always do.
Yeah, no, I know. So, you're gonna always,
So now you're talking about what's that about? Like 800 a month? That's like 800 a month, somewhere in that area. Everybody don't got the same discipline. I'm telling you, I've seen people mess up on $2,500 a month. $2,500 a year, $3,000 a year,
$600 a year.
Yeah.
See, or they look at it like, oh, that little bill, and don't pay, and then
5 years later, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
So what you gonna see in 5 years later is your first year, 10,000. Oh, like you know what I mean. So if you're not financially capable, and it's $1 million house at that point, yeah, I would say so. So like I know at some point the real estate that my family we have a crew that we've acquired over the years, there will have to be a point where maybe we got to sell half of it. Maybe we have to. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it's going to go, but I know there is an exit. It has to be an exit somewhere in this. You know what I mean? You have to figure out where the sweet spot is, and you also have to be training these children and hope they know. Hope they follow the rules.
Any type of fundamental change starts with education, right? And so it's up for these leaders, and you would love for these necessarily gurus, and that's become a word that has a negative connotation now.
Yeah, extremely for me. Yeah, extremely for me.
Want that instead of making people pay 2 or 3 bands for this course, right?
God, yeah.
That people just had a fun. I got a building right here that people can have 30 to 40, 50 people here,
and just give them knowledge.
Give them knowledge. Yeah. Put a couple hoagie trays, sandwich trays out here, and a couple bottled waters, and call it an event, right? And it makes invaluable, impactful change way more than the 15 knuckleheads that did pay the 2 or 3 bands for these courses that you're selling, for these ride-alongs.
Hey, listen, right? That shit right there, that ride-along shit, you gonna ride with me and watch me buy the house a boy told me he was paying $2,500 for it.
Yeah.
I told the boy, I said, you used to work for me. You already did that. You already did it before. But he gonna do something different. No, he's not.
So what's so funny? Somebody told me, our office mentor, my broker's father, he was hosting a series of training events in our office. And one of the things that he said that really resonated with me is he said, people refer people they like, but they do business with people they trust. Respect. I'm sorry. They do business with people they respect. So it's like when I hear stuff like that, because we've all experienced that, where we've had people, we've taken people under our wing, we've educated them, and then they went and spent the money elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it ain't personal.
It's like, yeah, right, exactly. You can't take it personal. It is what it is. But it's like, at the end of the day, I've been looking more into myself in 2022 and doing some self-reflecting and say, okay, what is it with my relationship with that person? What was I giving off that would, allow them to come and sit under my tutelage for free for all this time? And now when it's time to, go and make some type of financial decision, they go and do it elsewhere. What's going on? Trying to just figure out that disconnect. Sometimes it's not you. Sometimes
I'm about to say, sometimes,
But it helps to really sit back and think, because if you can see certain patterns of behavior or just different things in yourself that somebody may not necessarily want to do business with, it gives you an opportunity to make changes. Changes in the way you approach things, changes in the way you handle things. So it's one of the things that just thinking about it. But we've all been there, where it's like just watching people oh, okay.
All you can do is that's what's up. That's what's up.
That Just Soul sign up.
Right, cool. No, it's cool. The 2 hours we spent on the phone the other day, that meant nothing.
No, that's crazy. That's extremely crazy. I'm at loss for words when it comes to those type of people, but again though, sometimes it could be something that you do, it could be thing, and sometimes it's just people. Sometimes people like the Lucky Charms, sometimes you're not giving off the right shine. Bad example, but it's the only example I can really give you. It's even when I remember in the past time of my life when I seen guys and other things, everybody wanted to go buy stuff from the guy who had the shiny car and the big chain, and that means that because he got that means that he obviously know what he's doing. Now you can have way more than him and a better product than him, but because you're not as flamboyant as him or her, they want to go with the flamboyant person. So that's more of a personality disorder on the person. But everybody's not like that. Yeah, sometimes you could have said something in the conversation where you just disrespected the person, didn't even know. You probably didn't say good morning, how was your weekend on a Monday. That type of stuff go far with certain people, man. You don't ask them how their weekend was on a Monday, and I'm a victim of that. I did that a couple times. I didn't know you're supposed to say how your weekend. As soon as I call you Monday morning, hey yo, what's up with that deal?
Yeah, listen, it's so funny. I'm the same exact way.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way. A guy I was on business with let me listen to him talk to somebody about me on a speakerphone, and he said, Sharif is not personable. Sharif doesn't have a cordial. He's not cordial. He's just all business, and I don't want to do business with somebody who's all business. And I was like,
But it's like,
right
who do you do business with?
Yeah,
You want me to
yeah,
bake you
but-
cookies? Like,
but-
what the fuck?
see, that's your problem right there. You see that? That's why. That's why. That's why.
Business with a do business with a guy. I
This
can have
is
a beer
also
with.
why I'm trying my hand at commercial real estate as well.
Oh, you think it
That
changed?
suits me better.
You think it changed?
Yeah.
All
That
business
suits me
right
better. I
there.
started last year. Like, it suits me better.
So like you said, I want to do a deal with somebody I can have a beer with.
Yeah,
And that's-
yeah, that's a big thing, man. Like because I'm not good at being cordial sometimes, and you know, it costs me. It'll cost you. So you know, how you doing? How was your weekend? It ain't gonna hurt me to ask you that.
It's free.
Yeah, it's just etiquette.
Free.
It's etiquette, man. You
Didn't
know.
cost you anything.
But sometimes you don't think about that, and it's not intentional. Like, I've gotten just
I've
it's
learned
funny
to
you
do
said
it.
that because like this past week, as I've been making phone calls and people are answering, I'm like, oh, you know, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mr. or Mrs. So and so, and you know, I'll go into whatever my reason is. I'll always say like, oh, how was your day? You know, then I'll go into whatever, and then the first thing they say to me is Happy New Year, and I'm like, oh yeah, happy New Year.
Yeah.
So about what I was saying, like,
Yo, I didn't know that you got to say Happy New Year past Happy New Year.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I didn't know. Like 5 days into Happy New Year, why the fuck I gotta keep saying Happy New Year? Like that shit is ridiculous,
Yeah,
man.
February
Like,
3rd.
yeah, like when does Happy New Year
Like,
stop?
what is the threshold?
Listen, I was at the bank the other day, and the boy said it, and I couldn't really hear him because the bulletproof glass. And I'm like, huh? He like, Happy New Year. And bad enough, he had like 3 buttons down his shirt. So I was like, huh? Like what? I'm like, what? I'm like, huh? Like, dog, you know, it's thick ass glass. He like, Happy New Year. I'm like, Happy New Year to you too. Yeah. But I couldn't hear him though. I'm telling you, that thick glass, I couldn't hear nothing he was saying.
In the back of your mind, you was going, yeah, take the damn deposit.
Yeah. Listen, he like, give me I mean, he's slow and he's trying to be cordial. And I'm like, man, this boy must think I got time. He must think I print time out. Like, but I get it though. I've learned, like I said, I had to look around. Survey the area.
People.
Yeah, you got to survey the area and just be like,
You have to mirror people.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah, because the younger version of me would have been like, yo, you don't. But now I'll be like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Oh, yeah, have a good night. You know all that good stuff now. I've learned it don't hurt you. It don't hurt you to be polite. You know what I mean?
Free.
Yeah, it's a skill that you got to learn though.
Absolutely.
It goes a lot in business.
Absolutely.
It's free.
So, before we wrap this up, give me a prediction y'all think may be happening this year in this market. What do y'all see happening?
So,
The breeze is crazy.
January looks always like a lot of times like December, right? Because
Yeah.
we know
Still,
things kind of come
they
to a
gotta get all
screeching halt,
yes.
right? It's crazy though because November was like one of the darkest, slowest Novembers
In your career.
in a while,
Yeah.
right? And especially year over year, when you look at 2020 and 2021's
Yep.
November,
Yeah.
right? And then you look at this one, so things did get a little chilly. I think let's just talk about the known. So we know inflation is still going to be high. We know interest rates are still going to be high. We did get a little break towards the end of the year. We know that competition is going to be low because of interest rates being high.
Correct.
And then also that sellers don't historically sell, their homes during December, January, right?
Unless they've been on the market since January.
Unless it's been going
on the
before.
market. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Best time to buy a house, anybody. Look for the old,
Literally.
the old inventory. But
with that being said, right, competition, and I always try to at least generate some level of hope, right? Because we know, I just told you, rates are high, inflation's high, inventory's low, but at the same time, those factors allow for prosperity for the people that are still engaged, right? The people that still want this.
Still in the market,
competition
yes.
is lower for both sides, right? There's less buyers in the marketplace, and there's again less sellers in the marketplace.
so it
that
really
opens
evened everything
things
out.
up.
It really evened everything
We're
out.
in no man's land right
Yeah.
now. That's why you can say when you ask somebody, because
It's
we're
tough.
in a no man's
Yeah.
land. It's tough to kind of put a gauge on where things go. I mean, this morning we had good economic data and good jobs data, and
They
the
still talking
rates
about raising.
went lower.
Yeah.
And it was like, they're still going to increase the,
It don't make sense.
rate,
Yeah, it doesn't
but
make sense.
Mortgage interest rates dropped like a quarter point today. And so normally when jobs
Are doing good.
or you hear good news economically, everything last night, when I hit the lights off in this joint, it pointed to, okay, we know we're going to have rates a little higher this morning. Things didn't look so grim. What did they do? We lost a quarter point this morning. So no one really knows. But just to get information out there, if you're watching, January 2023 is going to look a lot like December with those parameters. Lower inventory, higher rates, higher...
less buyers, less sellers.
Less buyers, less sellers, lower competition. And then two, the last thing I would say is... I think most of those factors will go and start the spring market. I do see the spring market, though, being a good one and give people hope. I think that property value won't be meteoric as it's been over the last couple of years, but it still will see appreciation. So still stop waiting for a bubble because it don't look like it's going to happen.
Right.
Buyer demand is too high and home values are still increasing, although we are seeing the second biggest correction ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the home values are stabilizing a bit.
Yeah.
Like they're not as
They won't
crazy
drop
as they
100%.
were.
They won't drop 50% like last crash.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also, too, it's funny because I know we spoke earlier a little bit about demographic. And just, Philly being a very, neighborhood, block-to-block type of area, that's another thing that you're going to have to pay attention to, too, because there are certain areas that are going to be more advantageous for buyers or more desirable, I'll say, for buyers than others. Other areas where, like the Port Richmonds, the Kensingtons of the world, is going to be a more risky type of buyer buying in those type of areas, So there we're going to see, if we're seeing price decreases at all, we're going to see it mainly in those areas where we're trying to drive more positive energy, so you'll see kind of more like, prices going down a bit, in those areas. But everything else, to your point, will be pretty stabilized from how it's been. But I think spring's going to be crazy. I think the spring market is going to be really good. I don't see interest rates spiking up the way we've seen them, August, September last year. But I think, they'll be maintained well enough. Just, with all the programs going on, like we still have a ton of programs now. Every county offers a first-time home buyer program.
Okay.
Every single one. So, like Philly's not the only one. So you have Philly, you have Montgomery County, Delaware County, Bucks County, Chester County. Every single one offers a really good first-time home buyer program. There's also lenders who are giving away in-house credits. So where
what does that mean? What does that mean, in-house credit?
So they're giving away in-house grant funding.
Okay.
So for first-time home buyers. So and they're stackable.
Up to how much?
Some 8,000, some 5,000,
That's good
So
money.
imagine, like, you're going to the city of Philadelphia, you're getting 10,000, and then the lender's like, hey, I'll see that 10 and I'll stack another 8 on top of it. You just got 18 grand. Now, here's the caveat. It's only for credit qualified individuals.
And what type of credit we talking about?
We're talking that 700. We're
Jesus.
talking like
Not
at
a
least
680?
680.
Give me a 680.
At least 680.
Because the 7 and 680 is a mother.
But again, like I said, it's a slippery slope because you have to qualify for conventional, for those stackable products. They're only for conventional loans.
And some of them
They're
also
not-
have a
So you
heat
could-
map,
so
like
you
a
can get the-
geographic.
Yeah.
Some of them
Oh,
have
certain
to be
areas?
buying in certain areas.
In certain
Wow.
areas.
Jesus Christ. So it ain't like you're going to be, that's a,
Right. Yeah. So you can't do whatever you want when you want, but it definitely it helps. So with people collecting their income taxes, for all those buyers who, when the interest rate spiked last year, they decided to sit on the bench. I'm talking to you. Those people are going to come back full swing this spring. Like you're going to see a big uptake from them.
Yeah,
So-
I think what's going to happen is that this isn't a shock now that rates doubled in a year, right? Remember November, December of 2021, rates were still in the 3s, and then by November, December 22, they doubled, literally doubled.
Doubled, yeah.
And what's going to happen is now people are finally going to wrap their heads around what looks more like a normal market than we've seen in years.
Correct.
This
Correct.
is a normal market.
Yeah.
Rates in 4, 5s, and 6s is a normal market. Property value that isn't 20 or 30% higher than
The
what
day
it
you
was
bought
a
it.
couple years
Yeah,
ago isn't normal. And so now we're finally going to identify what a normal marketplace looks like. And now we're done with the shock of, well, damn, how did Miss Patty get $250 for that house that, 5 years ago was only $165? Well, it is what it is at this point, right? You gonna get what you gonna get, and he gonna get what he gonna get, and we're not gonna get upset, right? Because this is the market that we're in now,
Yeah.
right? And so much different than the shock and awe of 6 to 12 months ago,
Yeah.
where things got crazy.
And in addition to that too, a lot more sellers are willing to play ball. So
Yeah, it's no more
before,
no more. I'm paying 20% over the asking price.
right, and
waiving
not even just
Yeah,
that.
inspections coming back.
Like, yeah, we
Inspections
don't have
coming
to
back.
waive inspections, and sellers are saying, "Oh, do you really like my house? I'll give you another 5,000 if you want to buy it." So the playing field is leveled. The tables of negotiation have been reopened.
Okay.
So there's a lot that people have to gain.
So right now the
within
seesaw is like
market.
this at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if this is the seller and this is the buyer, it's about to really being like, I guess if they down you up, because it's about to be the buyer. The buyer's about to be in the
Some
run.
people think there's going to be a buyer's market at some point.
Only-
It's
only-
still a seller's market. but-
Only reason why I'm talking about
Yeah.
is for the investors that over-invested, over-leveraged. So if you want to buy something, you want to buy it and fix it up at your own rate, like like your first time house, you go somewhere. Now I don't know how fun. I don't know if you can get the grants and all that stuff for that if the house is not in perfect shape. But it's going to be a lot of investors that went out here, bought, and was banking on getting this big ass line of credit or this big ass refi, whatever, and somebody's gonna get stuck like hot potato with that.
Yeah.
And
It's
that would be the
You're
one.
seeing it.
Yeah.
Portfolios are being sold
It's
left and right.
happening
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
because
Like they really
banks have
are.
gotten tight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's going to be the one where the buyers will start to win more than what was happening in the last 2 years.
We're just talking about that.
Yeah, I experienced it. Like
Now, by that, for that set of buyers, we're talking about a different set of investors. Because with the portfolios that I've been seeing that's being sold, they may be listed, strategically one by one, whatever. But the parameters are still the same. Like the sellers are still playing hardball.
Okay.
It's still, we're not negotiating on repairs. You're buying this property as is. Those type of things still exist.
Yeah, see
And
that,
those
but that's somebody who
portfolio
has
packets.
that's somebody who still has like iron claw. That might be a hard
Yeah.
money investor who's taking somebody's portfolio back. But I'm talking about the guy who don't have no capital no more. That guy don't have no capital no more. He don't care. What you got for me? What you got for me? You know what I mean? What you got for me?
liquidating.
Yeah, he got to liquidate because sometimes you may have 8 and got to sell 4 to complete the other 4.
Right.
It happens. It happens to the best of them. You know what I mean? So that guy, he hasn't shown his face yet, or she hasn't shown her face yet. You give it, if these things keep going like this and the banks keep freezing up the money, they keep getting more stickier. And see that guy, he was probably waiting on a house to sell, but the person didn't have the money that you guys were just talking about. So now that sale that he thought he was going to get $200,000 on a Monday, that didn't come. And out of that $200,000 sale he thought he was going to make, he probably going to get $60,000 profit, right? And he needed that 60 to stay afloat for another month. Now that 60 don't come. When you were waiting on 60,000 to come and it don't come, and you was this close to getting it, ain't nothing like it. Because now you're like, where am I going to go get $60,000 from?
Right.
It ain't just laying around. And now the bank where you could have got the loan or the line of credit or they like, nah, you got too many open loans right now. And even though you've been making your payment on time, just right now from the look of it, you don't look like a smart investment. Even though you done made all your payments, they're like, you look like you're over leveraged. Come back in a year. See that type of shit. See that we're going into that this year. The springtime is always good for selling. Like almost like when I remember real estate in the very beginning, it's like a 6-month game. It's like spring to the end of summer was like heaven. And then September starts to slow down.
Yeah.
October slow down. November.
Keep on the shore.
December, January, it's a screeching halt. December, January, sometimes February. It's a little bit, the grease start getting on the wheels in February.
I would say Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I say, tell people, I say start
right the Super Bowl,
right around the Super Bowl,
So-
early mid-February.
So everybody would feel it now. It's funny you said something about Kensington, right? So would you invest in Kensington right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still,
I seen where they're getting a lot of grants. They're getting a lot of talk about Kensington. I mean, people from New York are coming down here. They're hearing about it, and people think that like they always talk about what is it? I about to call it Skid Row, but it's not called Skid Row. What's that part of
May as well
Kensington?
K&A.
No, not Canaan. But what they call it? It reminds me of the White Amsterdam.
Beach.
Oh.
What they call it though? K&A. I thought they called it something else though.
Beach. Or something.
Yeah, they call it something, whatever. Kensington Beach, that's what it's called? Okay. So Kensington Beach, right? Everybody think that's going to stay like that. Like, when nobody understands is that, like, they already got the money to push all those people out. You're going to see the big indictments in the next 2 years. The big indictments, they're going to take the whole area. Because what's happening is that it keeps spreading up. That part of town, it's not called Brewerytown. What's it called? What they call that?
Oh, Fishtown?
Fishtown? I guess it's called Fishtown. What's the other part?
Fishtown, Port Richmond.
Port Richmond, all that. It's pushing. They got to keep pushing it up. They got to keep pushing it up. So that little Skid Row down there, that's gone.
You can tell though, because they're already. It was like a big industrial area. So those huge industrial buildings are now multi-million-dollar condos,
Yeah.
multi-million-dollar.
All down Lehigh. Do you see down
Started
Lehigh?
with Northern Liberties, and it's slowly.
Yeah, around your high school.
surely,
around your high school.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
absolutely.
So the Northern
industrial.
Liberties then flowed over to the Port Richmond. The Port Richmond has to flow on over too. It would probably stop somewhere, like up Frankfurt, like all the way up Frankfurt though. Like I would say, I see it going all the way up to like probably Castor, like stopping right there for the time being, because that's when everything veers off, starting to go to the northeast, to begin the northeast. But like they're coming for all that. Like that's it's done. I mean, they may push the drugs up 6 more blocks north, but eventually it'll all.
Yeah, at some point, it's got to change.
Yeah, usually when you start seeing grants being approved, like so you just seen 20 million come down for the police. They announced a lot of grants in Philadelphia for gun control and all that shit. That means those areas that they have earmarked bad areas, they're going to see indictments. I remember when they did it down to Blumberg, and then when I drive through Blumberg, I'd be like, damn, they did it to them. Even though it still has some shit underlying that's going on, but that's all temporarily. Like they're buying $500,000 condos on Turner Street. On Turner Street,
is
like
a street.
I remember you couldn't sell a house for $10,000 on Turner Street. You
no.
could not sell a house for $10,000 on Turner Street in 2000.
Every 5 minutes,
Zero
you see
to 10.
transaction.
Yeah.
The MLS that comes through that has Turner Street involved.
Turner Street, they're on there right now working the next 100 up. So I was on 24th and Turner. They're on 25th and Turner right now, turning the corner property into condos.
But right in that area between there and a couple other sections, like off of Poplar or whatever, that's where PHA dumped all those houses.
Yep.
Every so often, PHA dumps a bunch of inventory,
Yeah.
and they resell it, and then
It's not easy neither. It's not like they just say, hey,
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
want to buy it?
Oh, no, you gotta be plugged all the way in.
Yeah, you better make
You gotta
some
be plugged
political
all the
contributions.
way in to get the PHA houses. But they dump their inventory,
Yep.
and people jump in and they buy and they sell at market value, and they come out like fat rats.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting market. This is 2023. I want to thank everybody for giving us your time. You have anything else to tell the people?
Stay engaged, stay locked in. This too shall pass. We got to see, these type of corrections to normalize things. That's why it was history, what we see in the last, 24, months. And now what we're going to see is, we're going to see the strong survive. And if you are focused and you're dedicated, willing to grow, willing to learn from any mistakes that you may have made in the past, now's the time to do so. It's a lot to be excited about.
My advice is stay educated. Stay educated, stay prepared. Don't plan for the bare minimum. Always over-plan, over-deliver. That is what's going to help you in the long run. That's what's going to help you succeed. Obviously, if you need help, call me.
From somebody that's always late.
There you go. I had to get something to eat.
So, we want to thank you for your time, though. This is another great episode. Just Conversations signing out. Thank you.